After flying from Mumbai to Jaipur, we stayed that evening at the Taj Mahal Palace Hotel. We were welcomed by an Indian band and a guy dancing in a horse outfit, and were impressed by the facilities that included a giant chess set on the lawn. The next morning we began our excursion with a brief stop at the Hawa Mahal. Known as the Palace of the Breeze, it was constructed in red and pink sandstone by King Savai Pratap Singh in 1799. Its purpose was to allow the royal ladies to enjoy everyday life from the confinement of a facade, since they were not permitted to be seen in public without face covering. Our next stop was the Amber Palace, but to get there we had to ride 6 miles out of town and then transfer to jeeps to climb the narrow brick road to the top of the mountain. At the end of the road we continued uphill on foot, passing various shops until we reached the Surya Pool, or main entrance. Beyond the gate was an open courtyard known as the Jalab Chowk, or front portion. On a higher level are the palaces and the Shila Mata temple. In the courtyard were elephants that visitors could ride to provide transport up and down the mountain. To access the palace, we climbed the steps and passed through the Singhpole, or Lion Gate. The fort was built by Rajalan Singh in 967 AD and was fully expanded by Jai Singh I and later descendants until the capital was moved from Amir to Jaipur in 1727. In the upper courtyard is the Ganesh Gate, which provides access to the inner private parts of the palace. Ganesh is an elephant deity who removes obstructions from everyday life of humans, and his likeness is printed over the entrance of many buildings. The windows of this chamber have finely carved marble grilles where the ladies of the royal family could watch the activities below. Inside, the walls are covered with painted flowers and murals, all having a concentric balanced harmony. To the left is the Diwan-i-Am, or Hall of Public Access. Here the Raj would conduct the business of court. Next to it is the Satis Kachera, where scribes would collect revenue brought to the Raj. Looking down into the valley, we see the town of Amir, the serene Mayota Lake, and the Dalaram Kaba Garden. Beyond the lake, a steep uphill path leads to an outer wall. While I surveyed the surroundings below, Peg photographed a few of the local visitors. Through the Ganesh Gate is the Garden of Pleasure and the Jasmandur Palace. These were rooms for private audiences with floral ceilings and intricate mirrorwork. Nearby is the Sheesh Mahal, which has walls and ceilings entirely covered with inlaid work of mirrors and colored glass. The flame of a single candle reflected in the tiny mirrors transforms the room into a starlit sky. At this time in history, mirrors were rare and precious, so it would have been a display of extreme wealth to build such a room. We quickly walked through the older section of the fort, and then climbed into the waiting jeeps to return to the bus. Along the way to our next stop, we took photos to provide a visual image of what life is like for the average person living in this part of India. The next stop is the Jantar Mantar, or Instrument of Magic, which is an open-air observatory built by the astronomer king Hawa Singh II in 1728. Astronomy was the lifelong passion of this Maharaja, and he was one of the few who had the luxury of pursuing it. I'll describe a few of the astronomical instruments. There's a small sundial which is meant to show the solar time with an accuracy of 20 seconds. There is a larger sundial which operates the same as the small sundial, but because of the greater height and longer shadow, can measure the time with an accuracy of 2 seconds. A pole star instrument is used at night to determine the position of the North Star and the zodiac signs. The king of the instruments is the astrolabe, which is used once a year to calculate the Hindu calendar. A hole in the center of the disc shows the location of the polar star. The zodiac instrument, which is comprised of 12 star dials, each following a different zodiac star group. And finally, the hemispherical sundial, which is used for observing the position of the sun and other heavenly bodies, and acts as a double check on all of the other instruments in the observatory. It is divided into 2 identical halves that work alternately every hour. The last stop for the day was the city palace, which was built by Hawa Singh II. It was he who moved the palace from Amber to Jaipur in 1732. The palace is walled and we enter through massive doors. In front of us is the Mahal, or Hall of Welcome, which contains a textile museum. Pink denotes hospitality, and in 1876, the Maharaja Ram Singh painted the city pink to welcome the Prince of Wales. Later the law was changed requiring that all buildings be painted this color. Next we were directed to the Chandra Mahal, or Moon Palace. This 7-story building is the residence of the present ruler. The flag indicates his presence. The last building on the tour was the Hall of Private Audience. This imposing marble hall in the center of the courtyard is used for ceremonial purposes. On each side of the entrance is a 2,000-gallon silver urn. These are the largest silver objects in the world, and were made for the local king in 1902 so that he could take water from the Ganges River with him when he traveled to England. The guards there gave us a demonstration of how to wrap a turban on your head. It's quite an involved process requiring a minute and a half to complete, but it is worth seeing if only to appreciate the skill required and be thankful that we in the West only require a second to place a ball cap on our head. Our excursions are over for the day, and as we head back to the hotel, we take one last opportunity to capture some photos of life in Jaipur.